In the middle of the trial and a few meters away from the murderer, she pointed the gun at his back and pulled the trigger. She sought vengeance, and she had found it, ending the life of the man who had brutally ended her daughter's life. Marianne Bachmeier's entire life had been marked by tragedy. Daughter of a former Waffen-SS officer, she grew up in a conservative, deeply dysfunctional household, dominated by an authoritarian and violent father and a strained relationship with her mother. At the age of 16, she gave birth to her first child, whom she gave up for adoption due to her youth. 2 years later, she was the victim of sexual assault mere weeks before delivering her second child, a trauma that led her to once again choose to give the baby up for adoption. With these wounds still raw, and now in her early 20s, a final glimmer of hope arrived: the birth of Anna, the daughter she was at last able to keep and raise. She was a single mother, but that didn't matter, because her daughter was everything to her, until Klaus Grabowski entered their lives. One day, Marianne allowed 7-year-old Anna to go and play at a friend's house, as she often did, but this time, she didn't come back. Grabowski, a 35-year-old local butcher, lured her to his home under the pretext of showing her his kittens. There, Anna's short life ended after being sexually assaulted. His plan was to bury her body in his garden and carry on as before, but he confided in his fiancée, who immediately reported him to the police. When the news reached Marianne, her grief turned to a burning resolve for revenge. She could not bear the thought of her daughter lying buried while her killer stood breathing in a courtroom. On the 6th of March 1981, the third day of Grabowski's trial in Lübeck District Court, Marianne was due to give evidence. She arrived carrying a .22 caliber Beretta 70 pistol concealed in her pocket and calmly approached the defendant. In full view of the judge and everyone present, she pulled the trigger 8 times, although only 7 bullets struck Grabowski's body, killing him instantly. She confessed that her intention was to shoot him in the face, but then defended herself by saying that she was in a trance and not fully conscious when she did it. Few believed her. To assess her mental state, experts asked her to provide a handwriting sample. What Marianne wrote shocked those present. "I did it for you, Anna," followed by 7 hearts, one for each year of her daughter's life, and symbolically, for each bullet that ended her killers. Marianne was sentenced to 6 years in prison, but served only 3 before being released on probation. She later moved abroad to rebuild her life. Towards the end, diagnosed with cancer, she returned to Germany and gave a candid television interview. When asked whether she had truly been in a trance during the shooting, she finally confirmed what many had long suspected. She had carefully planned every step of her final act of vengeance.